Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Coordinator of Officiating Services with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is football officiating training tape number 5. Going to have some plays involving line of scrimmage and back judge mechanics focused this week. Doing a really nice job so far. Keep up the great work. Again, appreciate your willingness to discuss plays and have a good pregame so we're ready to go this weekend. Again, when we're looking at these plays, not picking on any one team, player, crew, or official, just trying to learn from these plays as we go throughout the season. So with that, let's take a look at some plays. Okay, on this one I want to talk about line of scrimmage mechanics and just where we are positioning wise. So on running plays, we don't want to be even up with the runner. Let's let that play develop and go by us. It's much easier. We're going to be in a better spot perspective wise if we allow the play to develop in front of us and then allow the runner to go downfield and officiate from behind. It's going to be a much better look for us. So make sure we're maintaining the line of scrimmage until a pass is imminent. We don't have a pass play here, a clear run. So we should just stay put, let the play come to our side. We probably even want to take 2 or 3 steps into the offensive backfield, let this play develop in front of us, and then go from there. And then finally, anytime we have opponents going out of bounds together, we need to turn and face that way instead of towards the field of play. We want to make sure that we're facing towards the opponents that are out of bounds together. Now, they help each other up and show outstanding sportsmanship, which is awesome. But as we all know, that isn't always the case. And so we want to make sure we always have eyes on these players until they clear and go back to their huddles. So couple things: let the play develop in front of you and then take it downfield from behind. And then when they go out of bounds, we need to turn and face those players. And then back judges, just something to note for you, our vision should be right in that 5-yard belt, if you will, from the sideline out towards the middle of the field, because that's where we see blindside blocks, other cheap late hit kind of things. Doesn't happen on this play, but just something as back judges, don't get worried about the football. Let's make sure that we have some vision on that area of the field as well. Okay, scrimmage kick on this one. Just a reminder, mechanically, line judge, the position, not the person, is releasing at the snap. Referee, umpire, you're zoning up once the ball is away. You have each side of the line of scrimmage as your primary area of responsibility. Linesman, you are going to stay put, and then once the ball is away, you're going to pick up that second wave. And then remember our point of emphasis this year, back judges, make sure we're staying deep. Don't come up too fast. We're not in a hurry. We can take that play moving forward. That's our emphasis this year, back judges. Let's stay deep. On this particular example, the ball sails out of bounds, which means that the line judge and the referee are going to line this one up. Remember, we're not going to do this mechanic if the ball just rolls out of bounds or bounces out of bounds, but if it clearly sails over the sideline, then referees, you need to get to a position on the field where you can line this up, and you'll pick up a landmark of some kind beyond the sideline where you can line it up. And then line judges, you're going to do exactly what this line of scrimmage, this line judge official does, which is pick up that wave, officiate on the field of play. It goes out of bounds, kill the clock, 2 swipes. Then we're going to put our hand in the air and then move upfield until the referee chops. Referees, you will also have your arm in the air. When they get to the spot that you want them to be, you chop them in, and then they will stop. We do 2 swipes of the clock again and point. So this is handled really, really well mechanically. This is exactly what we want. We want the line judge to kill the clock, hand in the air, move forward until the referee chops the line judge to stop, kill the clock twice, end point. So this is really well done, exactly how we want to see it done, under control, gets a nice spot from the referee, and it looks really sharp. It looks like we know exactly what we're doing. Really gives that sense that we're on top of things and we're focused. It's just a really good example of what we want to see on scrimmage kick mechanics. Well done by the crew. On this one, we have an unusual situation where the quarterback gets hit as he's throwing the ball, or at least appears to throw the ball. It's subsequently intercepted and he's driven out of bounds. So a couple things mechanically and just our communication, what we're looking at, how we handle these kind of plays. So first of all, referees, when we see that free defender coming in, and umpires for that matter, that's where our vision needs to go, because the likelihood of a foul by this free defender is higher, especially as it relates to roughing the passer and targeting. So want to make sure that when we see free defenders like this, that's where our vision needs to go. Holding and those kind of things are not really a consideration at that point. The safety type foul is more of our focus. So we need to shift our vision to the passer in this particular situation. The next thing, referees in particular in this situation, remember that we need to know where the lateral bound of the free blocking zone is, because if we get out of there and we get the ball back to the neutral zone or the neutral zone extended, he would not be subject to an intentional grounding foul if we felt that he was trying to ground it. And also remember, from a philosophy standpoint, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt if he starts that arm motion prior to contact. In this case, it appears that he does. And so if the ball doesn't make the line of scrimmage, we're going to give him some leeway on it. Probably would have made the line of scrimmage, the neutral zone, had contact not occurred. So we'll give him some more leeway on that. And then the next piece is we can't assume that this is a pass. Remember, we have to move that hand forward with control on the pass for it to be a forward pass. And in this particular case, the referee deems that this was not a pass, that we had an open hand and subsequently kind of a shot put type action, and rules this as a fumble. And so I'm good with that mechanically. Remember, from a philosophy standpoint, if we're not sure 50-50, let's just leave it as a fumble, because we can always get together, decide it was an incomplete pass, and then move forward from there. Once we call something a pass that isn't necessarily, there's nothing we can do with it at that particular point. And then the other mechanics piece, or something to be aware of as a crew, line of scrimmage officials, we've talked about this before, back judges as well, that if the ball comes out wonky like this, we need to just leave it be as far as incomplete pass is concerned, because if this ball hits the ground, this is a fumble. The referee has thrown a beanbag. He's playing this as a fumble. And if we as line of scrimmage back judge call this an incomplete pass, there's nothing we can do with it at that point. So we just need to be real careful when passes come out goofy like this. Just let it play out and let referee and or umpire come in and wipe this out as an incomplete pass. So it gets intercepted, so we don't have to worry about that. But if this were to hit the ground, this is not a pass. This is a fumble. That's what the referee is playing it as. We have a beanbag. So when we see a ball come out wonky like this, even if it goes downfield a significant distance, we need to be careful about calling these incomplete. Let it play out and let referee or umpire come and wipe it out. So a lot of considerations: intentional grounding, roughing the passer, targeting, pass fumble, interception, our mechanics, and then finally line of scrimmage. When anytime we have opponents go out of bounds, we want to make sure that we turn and face them. Don't worry about the spot. It's not critical, especially in this situation. Let's make sure we have an eye on those players until they clear. So a number of considerations to think about. We handle this play well, but just those are all the pieces that come into play in a play like this one. So nice job by the crew here. All right, on this one, I want to talk about line of scrimmage mechanics and communication pieces. So you see, we have 2nd and 1 at roughly the 3-yard line, and we're going to have encroachment on the defense, and half the distance to the goal is going to put us past the line to gain for a first down. But the referee has to look and then make a second announcement that we have made the line to gain with the enforcement of this penalty. So something to talk about as a crew is information that the referee needs to have prior to announcements, prior to the play, so that they don't have to turn and look and they don't have to make a second announcement. They know that if we have a penalty, we're going to make the line to gain. So what we would do in that situation is we would tell the referee, five will get you 1, meaning if we have a 5-yard penalty, it's going to get you a first down. In this case, half the distance is going to get you a first down. So we would just indicate that by putting 5 fingers against our chest. So referees, you turn and look at the linesman. If they have 5 fingers against their chest, that's telling you that a 5-yard penalty would get you a first down. So that if we have encroachment like this, all we do is signal dead ball, encroachment, defense, number 45, half the distance to the goal results in a first down. And so we can just move forward with that announcement. Don't have to turn and look, and we have that information already. And we would not just do that down here by the goal line, but we would do that throughout the field. Anytime that we're close to where 5 yards would get us a first down, we'll say 5 will get you 1, or it's a long 5. If it's a long 5, that means a 5-yard penalty is not going to get you a first down. So just some communication strategies that will assist the referee in making quick and efficient announcements, so we don't have to make a second announcement to indicate that we made the first down. And then something else to consider or to do before the game, line of scrimmage officials, both linesman and line judge, when we meet with the chain crew and we check the chains and make sure that those are all set to go. When we line the chains up on 10-yard marks, excuse me, on 10-yard marks, we're going to put a piece of tape right at the 5-yard mark. So that way, when a down box is past that piece of tape, that tells you that 5 will get you 1. That way you don't have to guess which chain link is it on and those kinds of things. By putting that piece of tape on that chain link at the beginning of the game, right at 5 yards, that will tell you that if the ball is short of that mark, it is a long 5, and if it's past that, 5 will get you 1. So just a strategy or a tip to use to help you with determining whether a penalty would achieve the line to gain or not, by measuring them out before the game, putting a piece of tape on that chain link right at 5 yards, and that will be a good marker for you when you have these types of situations throughout the game. And remember, we're going to communicate that throughout the field. 5 will get you 1, long 5, and then referees can make quicker and more efficient announcements. This play is a good follow-up to the last one we had, and just the importance of knowing where the line to gain is as the line of scrimmage official ahead of time. So we don't have to turn and face the chains to see if we've made the line to gain. In addition, we also have goal line mechanics, and we haven't had an example of that really in the training tape so far. But remember, line of scrimmage, when we have a ball snapped between the 10 and the 5, we're going to float to the 5. And then if we need to move forward to the goal line because the goal line has a potential to be threatened, we will do that. And then we can work backwards to get the spot. Same thing on a snap inside the 5. We're going to move to the goal line and then work backwards to get the spot as necessary. In this particular case, the ball is snapped at the 6. We float to the 5, and then we know that it's going to move forward, so we continue on to the goal line. This is exactly what we want mechanically. We move towards the goal line, we wait, officiate the play, and then come onto the field of play to get the spot. So this is really well done mechanically. This is really good goal line mechanics. This is exactly what we want. But remember, the line to gain was made, or we need to know that the 2-yard line is the line to gain. So if we get past that, we're going to kill the clock, award the first down, and then we're going to move forward with starting the clock back up, referees, when the umpire has the ball near where we will put the ball down, which would be the inbound spot, the hash in this particular case. So a really good example of goal line mechanics, floating to the 5, then onto the goal line, working backwards into the field of play to get the spot at the 2 or just past the 2 in this case, and then remembering that the line to gain was the 2, so we don't have to turn around and look to see if we need to stop the clock. We don't do that here. We're well aware of what the line to gain is. We kill the clock, first down, and then move forward with first and goal. So really well handled mechanically. I like how we get to the goal line and we're stationary, view the play, and then work back to the 1.5-yard line in this case to get the spot. So really well done by the line of scrimmage official on this play. All right, we have 4th down and 16, end of a close game, minute 27 to go, and no timeouts remaining for the offensive team. So they have to run this play, and we have an incomplete pass in the end zone, and this pretty much ends the game. But if you notice here, watch the wide receivers at the bottom half of the screen. Not in a particular hurry to get out there. They are still moving around, and then the ball is snapped. So anytime we have a situation like this where players come out, they're moving around, don't even come to a stop or set at all, and the ball is snapped, just shut this down as a false start. Because to me, if I'm a defensive player and I'm looking at a receiver or any offensive player for that matter, and they are moving around at the snap, I'm assuming that the ball got snapped because they're moving like this. They're simulating the start of the play. So just call this a false start, penalize them 5 yards, and then move forward with the next play. Would you be supported by calling this a legal shift? Sure, you would. But I think it's just cleaner for everyone, the teams, the officials, that anytime we have a situation where an offensive player simulates the start of the play, we're just better off calling it as a false start, penalize them the 5 yards, and move forward. Now, we didn't have a flag on this situation, which is unfortunate. We need to be really focused, especially at the end of a tight game. We need to be focused throughout every game, but it's really critical to have our focus on our key areas of responsibility. And as line of scrimmage officials, this is a key focus. We need to be aware of these receivers and what they're doing at the beginning and of the play and as the ball is being snapped. So just something to be aware of. Anytime that we have offensive players simulating the start of the play, let's just call it a false start and move forward. And then back judges, let's get to the end line on a play like this and be stationary at the time of this action. So, we have plenty of a head start in this situation. We have a 20-yard head start. There's really no reason we shouldn't be on the end line to take this play, and we want to be stationary when this play occurs, because if we have a tighter catch, no catch situation, we're going to be in much better shape to be accurate in our judgment if we get to the end line and are stationary. So a couple considerations: false start, shift. If they're moving around like this, simulating the start of the play, let's not call it a shift, call it a false start, kill it, move forward 5 yards, and then we have a fresh start to the next play. So back judges, reminder, get to the end line on a play like this if possible, and then line of scrimmage, you're going to be secondary on the pass responsibilities as well. On this situation, we have a defensive player whose helmet comes off during the play, and he needs to leave the game for 1 down. And I want to talk about the rule piece and then the mechanics of handling this situation. So first, the rule is 3-5-10, and if you look at that on page 45, it says that an official's timeout occurs and the player shall be replaced for at least 1 down unless halftime intermission or an overtime intermission occurs when D, the helmet comes completely off during the down or subsequent dead ball action related to the down without being directly attributable to a foul by the opponent. So in this case, no foul by the opponent, the helmet comes off, and so therefore this player does need to go out of the game for 1 down. Now, when we're talking about the play clock, if you take a look at Rule 3.6.1, it says that the play clock shall be set to 25 seconds on the play clock and start on the ready for play signal in the following situations. And one of the exceptions is 3-5-10, the rule we just described, if related to a defensive player, which is what we have in this situation. So therefore, the play clock should be set to 40 seconds. We do kill the game clock to send this player out for 1 down, which is correct. As I just indicated, an official's timeout occurs when this happens. So we do shut the game clock down, send this player out for 1 down. We should make sure that the play clock is set to 40 seconds. So remember, that's pumping 2 hands instead of 1 to indicate that we want the play clock to go to 40 seconds. And then in this case, because the game clock will be running on the ready for play signal, we will have a play clock at 40 seconds after doing the double pump. And then referees, as soon as that player is off the field and they have a chance to replace that player, we can go ahead and wind up both the play clock and the game clock. So we do that a little fast here, and I would say that is the tendency across all levels of football, to just get the play clock and game clock going again really quickly. But let's make sure we get this defensive player to start moving towards the sideline, make sure that team recognizes they need to replace him, and then double pump the play clock to 40 as per rule, and then we're going to start them both up on the ready for play in this situation because the runner was tackled inbound. So those are the mechanics and the rules considerations. We do handle this play well in that regard. Shut the game down, send them out for a down, pump to 40, and then wind it back up. So those are the mechanics and the rules pieces for handling a helmet off of a player during a down. So well done by the crew here. This last play, I just want to talk about mechanics and vision and how we handle sweep plays especially. with our mechanics with the umpire and the offensive backfield. So first of all, umpires, we're just going to stay still, just pivot and then officiate inside out. And then as this play develops to the outside, we can make our way towards the line of scrimmage and out towards the side zone a little bit and pick up those blocks on the inside. Our vision's going to be right at the point of attack. Referees, we're working backside. Don't bump to the front side too quickly. Make sure that we clear our responsibilities on our side. And then if there's no threat for foul, we can move on to the next block. But our vision as umpires would be right at this block by number 87 and then 60 to some degree, but mainly our vision would be on the block by 87. Line of scrimmage, your vision would be there as well. And I like how we work back into the offensive backfield as a line of scrimmage official here. Remember, we talked about that on a previous play on this tape, that if possible, let the play develop in front of you, work to the backfield and work from behind. And then we're going to turn and officiate these players, these opponents, out of bounds. And remember, back judges, we talked about your responsibility is that zone about 5 to 10 yards from the sideline. Pick up any players swimming upstream, going a different direction than the rest of the players. Those are ones that typically would deliver blindside blocks or late hits or those kinds of things. We want to get our vision to that part of the field. That's our key. And then I like how we are just patient on this play. 87, his blocking technique is a little bit suspect, gets the hands in there. But at the end of the day, the tackle's made by this player, so there isn't a restriction. If he was restricted, he wouldn't be able to get out and stop this guy. He ultimately stops him at the same yard line he would have had there not been this blocking action by number 87. So this is properly no called as for offensive holding. If he gets past them or cuts up field as a result of this block, then we would have a foul for offensive holding for a grab and restrict. But this player makes the tackle. He's not restricted. But this is where our vision should be as the umpire and line of scrimmage. Our vision should be at this block, in particular by number 87. Back judges, your vision should be on blocks out front of this play. So, and just something of note on offensive holding, remember, point of attack, material restriction, category, and if we can answer those questions, we can put a flag down on the ground for offensive holding. And if it's really, really big and obvious in front of everybody, let's call those, okay? But if it's marginal, if it doesn't fit those criteria, even if it's at the point of attack, if it doesn't have material restriction, like this one, no restriction, no category, then we really should not be putting a flag on the ground. I think there's a misconception out there about truly what is offensive holding. We're looking for something that's point of attack, materially restricting the person being blocked, and that we can put it in a category. And if we can't do those things, can't answer those questions, we really shouldn't have a foul. So we do a nice job here. Good mechanics, good vision. This is where we need to be looking. We no call this properly. And then the final thing, as always, is making sure we're on top of our dead ball officiating. So well done by the crew here. Okay, that will do it for training tape number 5. Some line of scrimmage mechanics considerations, our coverage as it relates to running plays in particular, and scrimmage kick mechanics, and just overall philosophy. So some things to talk about as a crew and consider, and throw in some of the rules pieces that we need to emphasize, especially getting our nose into the definitions in the rules book is really critical. So doing a nice job. Keep up the great work. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.